Hi, hello, it's Nikki and welcome to my messy bookshelf. Today I'm here to share my weekly reading wrap-up. And I did finish some things and make progress in others for the various events that I'm participating in the month of March. I would have read more, but it was a very busy week this week. I had some construction going on in my house again. And then it was my birthday, so we did go for a birthday dinner. And my son came home to spend spring break with us. So we did binge watch the season 2 of the live action One Piece series because that anime is a favorite in our house. So I'll start off with the things that I did finish. I did finish Max and the Land of Spies. Last week I read Max and the House of Spies, and I had mentioned that I didn't love it the way that I thought I was going to love it. And I had heard from multiple people that book 2 was way better. And I have to agree. Book 2 follows Max as he goes back to Berlin as a spy to sabotage something in the Nazi regime. And Max is a 13-year-old boy, and yes, he goes back to Berlin as a spy. He is a Jewish boy going back to Berlin during the Nazi regime, and this book, it was very good. And the whole time, I thought it was better than book 1. I will say that. When I got to the end, though, I closed the book and I sat there just staring into space because I was shocked. I was shocked. And we all know what, the Nazi regime was all about and the awful things that they did. But I literally was shocked at the end of this book. For being a middle grade, it was quite something. It was wonderful, especially the ending. I definitely needed tissues at the end. This book gut punched me at the end, I have to say. I had started reading book 1 with my daughter, and then she wanted to read something else. So I went on without her, and I read this one without her as well. And I have to say, aside from the fact that I thought it would be a great way to gently introduce her into those topics, I have to say, book number 2, I'm kind of glad that we weren't reading it together because as I was reading, there were some things that popped up and there was one scene where they talk about someone having a small pecker and there is a mention of circumcision in this book, and I just could not imagine reading this out loud with my little daughter and her asking me what those things are and having to explain it to her. So I have to say, I'm kind of glad I didn't have to go through that. I can talk about the Nazi regime, but talking about those other things, I would have been very uncomfortable talking about that because she has no idea what those things are. So I'm sorry, I am going off on a tangent here, but this book was great. And it was a real tearjerker at the end. The two little folklore characters that are attached to Max that follow him around everywhere, I didn't feel like they had a purpose in the first book, and boy, was I wrong. In book 2, their purpose in this book is one of the things that made me shut this book and just quietly sit there and just, I didn't know how to process my feelings. So yeah, I am not doing this book justice, but if you are open to middle grade and you read book 1, if you are participating in middle grade March, read book 2. Read book 2. It was definitely worth the read. I will have to say that. So I'm going to move on. The other book that I finished was How the Garcia Girls Lost Their Accents by Julia Alvarez. And I was not planning to read this book. I had read the first few pages, as I often do, and I just bought it. This was one of my birthday books. And I kept reading. And then I kept reading, and then I said, okay, well, I guess I'm reading this week now, and I did. And this book follows the Garcia sisters as they emigrate to the United States from the Dominican Republic following their father's involvement with overthrowing a very terrible dictator. I can't even remember what his name is, real person in the Dominican Republic in the late 50s. The interesting thing about this book is the way that it's written. Each chapter is focused on a different sister. There's 4 sisters, and it goes in reverse chronological order. So we start at the end, and every subsequent chapter goes back in time and back in time. So we start off where they already live in the United States and have been living there for quite some time. And we finish at the beginning when they are living in the Dominican Republic. And I thought that was very neat. I found it very fascinating. And it's all about these girls who are assimilating into American culture and becoming Americanized, and the experience of relocating somewhere, assimilating into the culture, and then going back to your homeland and sort of feeling like you're in between. And, you know, it's something I've talked about before relating to. This, I feel like, would have been my mother's story, minus the fact that they are fairly wealthy, this family, which is how they were able to emigrate to the US when they did. But back in the 60s, emigrating to the US and just experiencing life as an immigrant from a Spanish-speaking country. So it was fascinating. It was emotional in some places. And it was just a look at what it really is like to come to a new country and assimilate into that culture. And it resonates with me, and I really enjoyed her writing, and I want to read more by this author. So these are the 2 books that I actually finished. I also made progress in The Glass Hotel. I am now in the middle of chapter 10. Did a little bit less walking this week because of everything that was going on. I did do some walking, actually, and then one of my walks I did with my son. So we were chatting and catching up, so I did not listen on that walk. But we did today go on another walk, and I did listen. And it's coming together. It is coming together. We have reached a very crucial point in the book, I think. And so that's for Audio Miles. And for March of the Mammoths, I have here my brick that I am still working on. I don't even know what chapter I'm on now. I know that I am officially over halfway. I am on chapter 61. Chapter 61. And still have so much more to go. And still loving it. I am still loving it, and I have not had a dull moment with this book. So I am so thrilled that this is the book that I decided to pick up for March of the Mammoths, because it has been such a wonderful adventure, and I am loving following the Count as he plots his little revenge plans. Well, not his little revenge plans, his grand revenge plans, but all the little tiny, smaller plans that he's putting in place to get to his ultimate goal of revenge. And I am loving every second of it. And I will be very sad to get to the end of this book, but yeah, I love it. I love it. And I will talk more in my Count of Monte Cristo little series that I'm doing. Another book that I am currently working on is the one that my daughter requested we go to, and this is Impossible Creatures by Catherine Rundell. This is a book about mythical creatures and a boy who saves a griffin, a baby griffin, and a girl that I still don't know too much about, but I know that she has something to do with it as well. We are only on chapter 5, but so far so good. So far, so good. So this seems to be the winner for us reading together, and I'm excited to get to that. For March Mystery Madness, I did not actually read anything towards that this week. I did start reading the Empusium, and I wasn't really getting into it, but I only read the first couple of pages. I was distracted this week, so not sure if I'm going to continue and with that one or with these other ones that I have here. I did just buy a Dorothy Sayers book, and I kind of feel like I might try a few pages in this to see. I did read something for March Mystery Madness last week, and I did fulfill the prompts, all 3 of them, with that one book, but I would like to read another mystery, so I have a few here. Well, I have 2 here. I have this one by Dorothy Sayers, Whose Body, and I think this is her detective, like her main detective that she writes with, Lord Peter Wimsey. And a corpse has been found in the bath of an architect's flat, wearing nothing but a pair of I can't say that word. Glasses. I can never say that word. You know what I'm trying to say. A pair of glasses, okay? So really want to try a Dorothy Sayers. And then I have here the Satapur Moonstone, which has been sitting on my shelf. So probably going to give this one a go instead of this one, but I do want to. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I need to figure out what I am reading because we are going away for the night to take my daughter to a water park for her birthday. So I need to have something to read in the hotel. So it's between these two. It's between these two. And then also I have more middle grade. I have Dark Waters, which is book 3 in the Small Spaces series. It's middle grade horror. And this is book 3, following a group of friends and a mysterious, horrifying presence that has been hunting them for the last 2 books. And then I have The Wind in the Willows, which I did read the first few pages of and is delightful, but I don't think that I'm going to take this on our overnight trip. I think it's going to be one of these 3. So that is what I have been up to, and it's been a wonderful week. It's been a wonderful week, and I am very happy that my baby is home for a week. But yeah, I thank you so much if you made it to the end of this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care.